Brother Dan. Brother Dan. Shabbat Shalom, Israel.
Shabbat Shalom.
We have a young brother up and rising in Israel. He's going to give our announcements. We want to give Brother Darren a hand as he comes forward.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We invite everyone to come again to the Ark of Israel. Today's topic will be the saints will rise in Jerusalem.
Wonderful.
All right, just to add another announcement in regards to the feast days. 3 times a year shall all the males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and the feast of tabernacle, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. Every man shall give as he is able according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he hath given thee. May Yahshua be a blessing to the reading of the word. Hallelujah.
All right, Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
All right, so once again, we stand before you on this Shabbat day. We want to thank each and every visitor that came out to share this day with us, that we may give glory to the Most High. We thank Him for His word. We thank Him for His Son. We also thank Him for the opportunity to go into the kingdom. So at this point in time, we're going to get ready to start our lessons. The lesson is, as the young brother was saying, Brother Darren, it's going to be on the saints will rise in Jerusalem. There's a scripture out that's it's Matthew 27, 50 through 53, that has that the only place I actually seen it in the Bible that it was written that particular way. So we decided to look at it over the week, and thank all the brothers for all their input on this lesson, all the scriptures that came in as we prepared this lesson, and we're going to do that lesson today. So we're going to start off with Ephesians 1, 3 through 4. Ephesians 1, 3 and 4. We also want to praise Most High for we have our brother Perman back with us today. And we ask that everyone continue to pray for all of Israel, that the Most High will open their eyes and give them the same understanding that we have in this word today. So once again, we're going to start off with in the book of Ephesians, and it's going to be Ephesians 1, 3, and 4.
Shalom, fam.
Shalom.
Ephesians chapter 1, verse 3 through 4. Blessed be Yahuwah and the Father of our Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach, who has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heaven, in heavenly places in Mashiach.
Okay, so we're seeing right now that as he read Ephesians 1 and 3, we also see that through Yahshua, heavenly spiritual blessings is given to the saints. We see that right now, right? So he's going to read that 4th verse.
According as he has chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love.
So remember now, it's saying that we was chosen before the foundations of the world. Isn't that something? So the world was made so that we would what? That we can dwell here on this earth. Am I correct? That's why if you look down into Genesis and you go into Genesis 1, you'll see somewhere, and when it begins somewhere around the 15s or something like that, where he began to bring light and a few other things that he did in order to prepare this particular world for us, right? But in Genesis 1 and 27, he did something that was real important when he did that. Okay, so we can go to Genesis 1 and 27. 1 and 27. Okay, Brother Darren.
Genesis 1, verse 27.
Genesis 1, verse 27.
So Yahweh created man in his own image.
So we know that by Yahweh being a spiritual and righteous being himself, that if he created us in his own image, then he created us to be a righteous people. Can we see that?
Yeah.
And read, my brother.
In the image of Yahweh created he him.
What did he create?
Male and female created he them.
You see that? So we was created, male and female, we was all created to be what? A righteous people, because we was created his own kind.
Ephesians 1 and 5.
Uh-huh.
Having predetermined us unto the adoption of children.
Okay, so, and in some books, he said, in the book he's saying predetermined, but in the book, in other books, like the King James Version is going to say, having predestinated us into the adoption of children, what?
By Yahushua HaMashiach.
By HaMashiach himself, what?
To himself, according to the good pleasure of his will.
Ah, you see that? So he willfully did it. He wasn't forced to do this. It was something that he was willfully done. And what?
To the praise of the glory of his grace, wherein he has made us accepted in the beloved.
That we have been accepted in the beloved. So we was already so even though we was already created to be inside of, we was created to be righteous beings. Our HaMashiach, we was predestinated to what? To the adoption of the children of the Most High. Right? Did you read the 7th verse yet, brother?
Not yet.
Read it.
In whom we have redemption through his blood.
Wow. So a lot of people wonder a lot of people say that this the crucifixion was for a different reason. But we know that based on what we read here in Ephesians 1 and 7, it says that to whom we have a redemption through his blood. So we know that his blood was shed so we could be redeemed. And read.
The forgiveness of sins.
So you see that? For the forgiveness of sin. But now see, there's going to be a twist there. There's going to be a twist. And why there's going to be a twist? Because some people take that and say what? They saying that, go ahead and read first before I finish this.
According to the riches of his grace.
According to the riches of his grace. You see that? But see, they wondering, they say, that's why a lot of Christians would say what? We're saved by grace and we don't have to keep no laws, we don't have to do anything else. But what we have to understand is the grace is so that you can get an opportunity to get into the law. So that you can rise up as a people, that you can lift up a standard within yourselves and keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Because trust me, the law, statutes, and commandment was so important that he gave them twice. Yeah. He didn't. If it wasn't important the first time no tabs were broken, he would say, "Forget this. I don't need to bring it back forward." But he brought it out twice. So we're not, even though we're saved by grace, grace has given us that time that we get ourselves together. We got to, if that's the case, everybody in this world could just walk right on into the kingdom. Yes, ma'am.
Just like any other thing, it's called a grace period.
Yes, like a grace period.
Extended time.
That's right.
That's it.
Because think about this. If you pay a mortgage, if you pay a rental fee for your place of stay, and you have a 15-day grace period, in 15 days, if you had not paid that bill, you're going to get a notice of what? Eviction. You got to go. You got to go. So with this grace period he's given us, when he returned, if we have not put ourselves in accordance to the law, right, that some people say that the Big Ten is no good, but if we have not put ourselves in line with that law, then we're going to be headed to a place of everlasting life. But the everlasting life is not going to be a good everlasting life. It's going to be an everlasting life of torture and damnation. Brother Chauncey, can you give me Hebrews 2? Hebrews 2. And start at the next verse. Hebrews 2. Hebrews 2. So we got to understand that. If you look around, there's so many things happening. I think thousands of people was killed in a hurricane not too long ago in another country. They said thousands. People are not just, a hurricane go down through Tennessee somewhere and hit somebody and kill 50 people, and we wore them out. But we had a country that came down through, if you're looking worldwide, that was hit, and thousands of people was killed. Huh? Mozambique or something like that. Mozambique.
Yeah.
So we gotta look. Well, it's not strange that I get words wrong, but we got to understand something, right? That the Most High is not playing. The Most High is very serious about what He do. They went down and killed like 50-some people over in Tennessee somewhere, Mississippi. I don't know where it was last week, and everybody's out there. The president, we're gonna send them help. We're gonna help them rebuild, and we're gonna help. But the ones that are dead will not rebuild. They were not. They taking that dirt nap. And they waiting for them to be what? Awakened unto judgment. And they will be judged on not the things they did while they were asleep, but they're going to be awakened upon the things they did when they was awake. Hebrews 2 and 9. Brother Johnson.
Hebrews 2, verse 9.
Yes, sir.
But we see Yahshua,
who
was made a little lower than the angels, for the suffering of death.
That's the only reason why he was made a little lower than angels. Because he had to suffer death. Read.
Crowned with glory and honor.
But in the process of being low, made a little lower than the angels, he was crowned with glory and honor. What?
That he be by grace of Yahweh should taste death for every man.
And why is that? Because the grace was that if you suffer this death, then you will have everlasting life. How many of y'all know that we all got to taste death? Whether we don't go into our dirt nap or not, we have got to suffer death. Why? Wow. How are you going to do that, Brother Lord? I am so glad you asked me that. I'm just the happiest guy there is that you asked me how we going to suffer death without going and taking a dirt nap. Right? Because you got to kill off the old man.
Yeah.
We were sold, our bodies were sold into sin, and we're going to see that as we begin to continue to go. Brother Chelsea, can you give me that, continue to read?
For it became him from whom are all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing many sons unto glory.
Yes, sir.
To make the captain of their salvation perfect through suffering.
You see that? You see that? He brings, so it says that by whom are all things, in bringing many sons. Remember, we are predestinated. We was created to be righteous. And made in the image of the Most High. We are the sons of the Most High. Everybody that walked this earth has been created by the Most High. Nobody came through here through evolution or none of that stuff. Now, they might be cloning some people nowadays that don't even have to be. I don't know if they I never wonder whether the clone going to be judged or not. I don't know how that's going to go. I don't want to get so deep into that. They probably won't even exist, you know. And I said that as a joke. But actually, it said bringing many sons unto glory, right? So through his death, that is what brings us into glory. Read that 11th verse for me.
For both he that sanctifieth and they who sanctify.
You see that? Both he that sanctifieth and they who are sanctified
are all of one.
Oh, wow. So you see that? Through his death made us one with him. Read.
For which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren.
Read, my brother.
Saying, I will declare thy name unto the brethren. In the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee.
And read.
And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children which Yahweh have given me.
You see that? I and the children which the Most High have given them, meaning that we are predestinated. He was already given unto him. Before he went up there and got on that tree and was hung and what you call it, crucified, we was already predestinated that he would be crucified so that we may live. It was already predestinated. You see what I'm saying? Brother Darren, can you give me Ephesians 1 and 3? I'm sorry, I'm wrong. 1 and 8. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Ephesians 1, verse 8.
Uh-huh.
Wherein he hath abounded towards us in all wisdom and prudence.
You see that? All wisdom and prudence. That means that even though we're predestinated, we have to have what? Wisdom and prudence. That means we got to do something. Huh? That means wisdom. How do you get wisdom? Most of us have to read, we have to learn, we got to, you know, it's not just going to come slap you side the head and say, hey, I'm wisdom, how you doing? That's not going to happen. You got to do some footwork because faith is an action word. If you faithfully believe that our Hamashiach laid down his life that we can get this kingdom, then what? Then we got to do that faith, right? Is where the wisdom comes. Why? Why is that, right? Through that faith, the wisdom comes. You see? That means that it's an action word now because through faith we read. Through faith we gain knowledge. Through faith we understand. Through faith we change our life. Through faith we kill off the old man. We change our ways.
It's like no more second guessing, you know.
It's straight. Yeah. He took off all the excuses with that.
Yeah.
You know, he took it all away. Because we got to realize the law of sacrifice was not doing it. It was not doing it. It was not keeping us a righteous people that we was created to be. Because some smart man kept him an old sheep for 1 year around. That he can go do whatever he want to do and just go home and burn that sheep. It wasn't keeping him from sinning. And that name verse says what, Brother Kevin?
Ephesians 1, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
Having made known unto us the mystery of his will, according to his good pleasure, which he has purposed in himself.
That he had purpose in himself. So we got to understand something, right? A lot of us, a lot of people are so hung up on the dead man that's walking around every day doing the things of this world. They're so tied into worldly stuff that they cannot what? And I guess they're trying to supply their own needs. They're trying to do things that they feel that they need in this world to keep them afloat. But what we have to understand, Brother Chomsky, was Philippians 4:19. What they got to understand is that when you're all in and when your faith is on deck, these things take place through your actions. It does not happen just on a whim. Right? Philippians 4:19. Philippians 4, verse 19.
Philippians chapter 4, verse 19.
Yes, sir.
But the Most High shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Yeshua HaMashiach.
So most of us, but a lot of us is inside this, that's living in the flesh, can only see ourselves in the flesh, right? To a point that we are trying to supply our own needs, and we're glorifying ourselves and giving ourselves pleasure. We glorify ourselves in pleasure. Anytime you got to lift yourself up, right, in order for you to feel good, or put somebody else down in order for you to feel good, then you live to pleasurize yourself. You're not looking to pleasurize anybody. You're definitely not giving any glory unto the Most High. All glory and honor goes to the Most High. We mean nothing. We're like trash to him. Why? So, wow, that's a hard thing to say. Well, sin is trash. When it comes down to him, if you were created to be righteous and you are sinful, then you in his eye are trash. You're nothing but dung. That's what he said. He said, we are nothing but dung. And you know what dung is, right?
Worse than trash.
Worse than trash. Got a lot of flies hanging around. Got a lot of them hanging around. Brother Darren, can you give me Romans 8:1? Romans 8:1. So we got to understand some things took place in this world that a lot of us don't see, and a lot of people is not going to teach tomorrow. They're not going to teach this tomorrow. They're gonna teach you tomorrow that you can give them $100 and the Most High gonna come by and see you. You ready, Brother Dyer?
Yep.
Romans 8 verse 1.
There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in our Hamashiach.
So one of my favorites. There is no condemnation in those of them that which what are in our Hamashiach. Why? How can you get there? You can't be in him until you kill off, the same death. When he died on that tree, what you call that? When they crucified him and he died off, the flesh died off. Remember, the Most High made him a little lower than an angel so that he may be able to come down on earth and do that suffering, right, and experience death. And that death was the same, it was symbolic unto the same death that we have to take within ourselves. We have to kill off who we are. And there's a reason why, and we're going to get to it, right? But it says what? It says, what we have to again? So therefore, there is no condemnation to them who are in our Hamashiach, what?
Who walk not after the flesh.
Wow, well, let me see. What does the flesh love to do? Versus what righteousness now, what the spiritual man would prefer doing. If you find yourself doing more of what the flesh wants you to do versus what the spiritual man wants to do, then therefore, right?
To the flesh.
You're living in accordance to the flesh. Because, listen, what was you at then? Read. Romans 8 and what? 1, continue, finish.
Who walk not after the flesh.
He walked not after the flesh. He walked not after the flesh, but what?
But after the Spirit.
What spirit are we talking about? The Ruach. The Ruach is what makes the great difference here. And we got to understand that the Ruach is what makes the great difference. Anytime your brother's ready to chime in, get the old man a hand, you can. And read that second verse.
For the law of the Spirit of life in Hamashiach hath made me free from the law of sin and death.
You mean, Timothy, there's a law of sin and death? Right? You see that? But if your teacher is teaching you that the Big Ten don't count, and you're not keeping the law of the Big Ten, that means you're keeping the law of something else. Right? The law of prosperity. That's a good one. The law of prosperity. But why? But what makes so? Therefore, if your goal is to be prosperous in this world, on earth, in this hour, right? Then your goal is not to be what? Prosperous or beneficial to the kingdom. How can you do both? You can't eat at both tables. You cannot eat at the table of devils and the table of the Most High too. You cannot. It's not possible.
Can I add this in?
Yes, sir.
To go off with Romans 8 and 2, we can go to John 8, verse 36, and it reads, "If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed."
You see that? Read that again, brother.
John 8 and 36. If the Son shall therefore make you free, ye shall be free indeed.
But there's a way that the only way the Son can make you free is that he was a partaker in giving in the grace being what? Inflicted upon us, are given unto us, are available to us. Right? But it was only for a reason. Why? Because in order to receive that grace is a time period of grace. Yes, it is. It is grace there. Right? But that grace is only to give you an opportunity to get yourself together. Go ahead, sister.
Can somebody read Psalm 62 and 8?
Psalm 62 and 8. First guy get it? Whoever having Romans 8, stay right. 7.
62 and 10.
Yes.
Psalm 62 and 10. Trust not in oppression and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. When we stop there, keep going. That was it.
That's it.
Okay.
A lot of people trust in oppression. They trust in the system, you know, what can the system do for me, and they live by that, and they don't try to grow outside of it. And others trust in their money. So he said, if your increase goes up, don't trust in that. You still gotta keep your mind on the Most High.
Because whatever you put before the Most High, He gonna move it out the way. Whatever it is. That's why I don't put my children above the Most High. I don't want to lose them. You see what I'm saying? There should be no greater love than the love between you and the Most High. Remember the marriage that took place between Hamashiach and Israel. We got to remember that. That was a marriage that actually took place. That was a wedding that went down. We went through that right here in class, right? That marriage supersedes any other marriage. Because during the same, when you was married, that same marriage goes down generation after generation after generation. But guess what? If you're not honoring the vows of that marriage, what is the vows of that marriage? Is that we keep those laws, statutes, and commandments that He gave us. He said, this is what you have to do to stay married to me. And when Israel didn't do it, He gave them a letter of divorcement. He kept Judah long enough for our Hamashiach to come down that line and be born under Judah, to come in through the line of Judah. But after he came down through that, right, what happened? He divorced Judah. How did he divorce Judah? Through his death. He had to die to get out of that marriage. If you are married to a woman and you die, all vows are off. It's dead. She open to be anybody she wants. He had to die to get away from that, right? But just we need to get. I didn't wonder actually. I put you on point, but we're gonna go back to this lesson and stay right. And I'm gonna try to stay on point. There's so much involved in this. Where you at, Brother Darren?
Romans 8, verse 3.
Verse 3, read.
For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh.
The law was weak through the flesh. Read.
Yahweh sending His own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh.
So wait a minute. So if He sent Him in likeness of sinful flesh, did He not send Him in likeness of the man that walks on earth?
Yep.
So then man is sinful flesh. Yeah. You see that? So we walking around here dead. We are walking around every day dead. If you are not living according to the laws of the Most High, you are dead flesh.
No living water.
Ain't nothing going on. No, you might have fun for a moment of time. I was telling my wife, I said, Mom, honey, I said, you know, my day is going fast every day. She said, time moving on. I said, well, I guess you're right. Because I know I ain't have great whiskers. I do. Y'all might not remember. But I do.
One of our family online, he submitted John 16, 5 through 8.
John 16, 5 through 8.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to go all the way down to 11.
Wait a minute, hold on for a minute.
John.
No, we got that. We're going to tell the brother we're going to hit that.
All right.
Tell the brother, hold on, we're going to hit that,
brother.
We're going to hit that, brother.
You in the lesson, brother?
You right on it. You right on it, brother. You right on it. You right on it, Sister Carly.
What about the verses that we were taught, what the Apostle Paul said about the law of love, and love covers a multitude of sins?
Law is right. So we think about that, right? Law covers a multitude of sin, right? But love don't.
Yeah. How about when the verses that the Apostle Paul says about the law of love, and also love covers a multitude of sins?
Can somebody pull that up? I think you can find that, Brother Johnson. Charity covers a multitude of sins.
Right.
Because charity is love, right?
Right. Yes.
So pull that up for me. We're going to break that down real quick. I want you to know, I want you to hold tight, right? Okay.
Going back to that Romans part, I mean, a lot of times that's used to for people to just say, you know, you say believe and that's it. Like, you know, believe in Jesus, I would say, and that's it. But they don't go any further, and then they look at the other the lines that come a little bit after that. The lines that come a little after that, to try to suggest that the law is done away with, which is not what it says whatsoever. It says it's talking about the law of sin and judgment. It's not talking about the entire Torah. You know, but they use that with little understanding and twist things to what they want or what they continue to be taught, which is a lie. That's not what the book says.
And when you started off, you said something that was real critical. Say it again.
I'm just saying that, and I think that was Romans 8. They talk about that. They just talk about belief in Jesus, or even say Yahushua,
right?
Which obviously is important, but that's not the only thing. And even down in Revelations, it talks about those who keep the Torah and believe in the testimony of Yahushua.
But if I only believe that my wife exists, but my actions, I don't treat her like she's a wife, what's the use of me having a wife and acknowledging that she's my wife? If you believe that our HaMashiach exists, but he said, if you love me, keep my commandments. If you're not keeping his commandments, what's the difference? I mean, what's the reason why you believe he's existing?
What are you doing?
So yeah, love covers an abundance of sin, true enough. But love won't get you into the kingdom alone. You need more than just love to get into the kingdom. It's going to cover some of your sin, but it's not going to cover all your sin.
Well, we also think about the love, his love toward us. Well, how do we show our love toward him?
Yes. Yes. Because it's a two-way street. Yes, ma'am.
I just think people, different types of love. And
yes.
Some people that believe in the mushy type of love. Oh, I just love you, but they don't show it outwardly. And then you got brotherly, sisterly love, and then you have relationship love. So it's different types of love.
Good.
So the Most High's love is keeping those commandments. That's an effect. Okay, I love you so much, I won't hurt my brother or sister. I won't try to kill them. I won't commit adultery with their spouse. You keep those commandments in love. That's a reflection, because Satan's going to tempt you with those things. So when you get tempted, okay, this is my task. Let me show the Most High just how much I love him, because I will not do it.
The law covers all the commandments. All commandments lie on these two laws. Where is that? That's a Matthew.
I'm holding.
Okay, go ahead and read for her.
To answer Sister Carla, we had 1 Corinthians chapter 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 7 and 8.
Read, my brother.
Beareth all things, believeth all things, hope all things, endure all things. Charity never faileth, but wherever there be prophecies, they shall fail. Wherever there be tongues, they shall cease. Wherever there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. And that was that one that right there.
Go one more scripture.
4, okay. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away with.
See? Did you get that? Go back to it, brother. I'm sorry. Read the next verse. Read down 13. Go down.
So I'm at 11 now. When I was a child, I spake as a child.
When we was in the law, we lived by the law. Read.
I understood as a child.
We understood that the law had told us that if we sacrifice, our sins would be forgiven. Read.
I thought as a child.
We continued. We definitely thought it because we would not have lived it. Yes, sir.
But when I became a man.
But when Yahshua removed the law through what? Through them, through the, what you call it thing? Through his crucifixion, things changed. Read.
For now we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known. And now I abide faith, hope, charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? So the greatest, but you still gotta have faith, hope, right? You gotta have charity too. But the greatest of the three is the charity. Why? Well, did you find what I want you to find there, brother? Okay, give me the script. What script is it?
Matthew 22 And I guess we can start at 35, 22, Matthew 22, 35.
Matthew 22, verse 35.
Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him.
And so he was trying to set him off. He was trying to tempt him to a point to get him out of character. But Al-Hamshah was a very smart, gifted man with what? With wisdom, because he was made just a little lower than an angel because he knew he had to go through death, but he was born in righteousness. Read.
And saying, Master, which is the great commandment in the Torah?
You see that? You know what the Torah is, right? Read.
Yahushua said unto him, You shall love Yahuwah Elohim with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment.
That's the first and great commandment. But give me somebody pull up Exodus what? Somebody pull up Exodus 20 right quick. Exodus 20. We can ready to tie this in right quick. Exodus 20. We can ready to go to the 10 Commandments. You already there? Start at the first commandment. Exodus 20. You ready? We're gonna go to the 10 Commandments. We can ready to go through it, y'all. Y'all ready? Let's go. Exodus 20. Exodus 20. Yes, sir. Okay, hold tight. Y'all ready? Everybody hold on.
Exodus 20, verse 1.
Hold tight for a minute, my brother. Everybody ready? All right. Hold on, we got a sister who's not ready yet. Go back to you. Who that just read that? Okay, y'all ready? We're going to do this simultaneously. Y'all hold on, listen to me. We already read the first one, but I'm going to do it again. Read, brother. Read, brother Kevin.
All right. Yahushua said, and this is 37. Yahushua, Matthew 22, 37. Yahushua said unto him, You shall love Yahuwah Elohim with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment.
So that's the first commandment. He gave him two. That's the first one. Read, brother Darren. This is Exodus what?
20, verse 1.
Which is the 10 Commandments. Read.
And Yahweh spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High, your Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt,
Read, my brother.
and out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Because if you love him, you won't put no other God before him. Read.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
If you love him, you won't put a graven image before him. Read, my brother.
Or any likeness of anything.
Any likeness of anything.
That is in heaven above.
That is in heaven above.
Or that is in the earth beneath.
Or in the earth beneath.
Or that is in the water underneath the earth.
Or in the water beneath the earth. Or in the sea. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh, am a jealous Elohim.
Because therefore he's a jealous Elohim. Remember the marriage that took place between Israel and the Most High. If you love him, then you wouldn't do those things to hurt him. Read.
Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Read.
And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me.
Read.
And keep my commandments.
Do what? And they do what?
And keep my commandments.
Because Yahshua himself said, if you love me, keep my commandments. So if you love him, you got to keep those commandments. So that's why the love is there. Continue to read.
Thou shalt not take thy name, the name of the Most High Elohim, in vain.
If you love him, you won't take his name in vain. Read.
For the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name.
Because he will render you guilty if you do. Read.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
Because guess what? The Sabbath was made unto himself. If you love him, you would keep his Sabbath. Read.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy Elohim.
Go to the calendar. Look at the calendar. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll find out that Sunday is the first day. It's not the seventh day. So we're out of order when we're popping up on Sunday. Continue to read.
In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
So now look this right here. A commandment is nothing but a command that comes from the Most High. We just read a command. He's telling you that you got to keep the law of the Sabbath. On that Sabbath day, you're not supposed to kindle a fire. If you go into the book of Leviticus, it would tell you exactly what the law of the Sabbath is, right? kindle a fire, right? You don't do anything that's pleasurable to yourself. You don't work on that day. Those are the things that you do if you love him. Because remember, the first one is love.
Yes.
Read.
For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
You see that? He blessed it. And he sanctified it. Read, brother.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Because if you love your mother and father, you'll honor them. Yes, what's up?
Okay.
Brother Kevin, where you at?
Oh, so just those part of the commandments were, this is the first great commandment, which is all of the ways that we love our Elohim.
Right, here comes the second one.
All right, so that goes back to Matthew 22 and 39. Matthew 22 and 39.
Yes, sir.
And the second is like unto it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself.
Now we're talking about, because see, that's why he said love, right? And love, and now, so the next one is saying that you should love what your neighbor as you love yourself.
Which the father and mother is part of the neighbor.
Yes, the mother and father is part of that. Because if you love your, it's like, when they say neighbor, a lot of times they're talking about the people that are in, saints that are in the walk with you, okay? So your mother and father is considered the same thing as your neighbor, okay? So your next one.
Exodus 20, verse 12.
Exodus 20, verse 12.
Honor thy father and thy mother,
Uh-huh.
that thy days may be long upon the land which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee.
That is the only law with a what?
Promise.
With a promise. Meaning that if you don't love your mother and father, your day is going to be short. Right? Loving your neighbor. Continue to read.
Thou shalt not kill.
If you love your brother, you're not going to kill him? Read.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
If you love your wife, you're not going to commit adultery to your wife. Read.
Thou shalt not steal.
They can tell you all day long, baby, I love you. Nowadays they got a new word, baby. But they say, I love you. But their actions is not showing that they love you. Right? I can tell you I love you, and every time you see me, I'm slapping you side there. Man, that ain't love. That ain't the one I want. You know what I mean? The kind of love I like is gentle. Come on, Ty, don't cuss me out. I just got in, I work hard. You know, I tell my wife, come on, baby, I've been out, I go out to do a job, come on. She's, where you been? I said, I've been out protecting your honor. And what I mean by that, I'm out there working for both of us. Right? Read that again, brother. Yes, sir.
Thou shalt not steal.
Because if you love somebody, you won't steal from them. Read.
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
If you love somebody, you ain't gonna lie on them and bear false witness against them. Read.
No, false witness against thy neighbor.
Thou
shalt not covet thy neighbor's house.
If you love somebody, you're not gonna covet. I want what you got. I want yours. I don't want to go buy a house look like yours. I want your house. I want yours. I don't want one sitting beside you. I don't want on the same property that you have. I want the one you got. Read.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife.
If you love your brother or your neighbor, which is the same fashion, you would not covet his wife. Oh man, I can have her. They got this show called Blackish. And in this show called Blackish, there's this man always saying something derogatory toward this man's wife. I sent her some leotards the other day. I mean, I'm just saying, but that's supposed to be his friend. That's supposed to be his friend. He's coveting that man's wife. And when you watch this show, Blackish, they're teaching you how to do a lot of foolish stuff, like coveting wives, keeping holidays. They teaching Israel to do those things which are wrong, but in the same fashion, they show us some things where that Israel is tied into who? Unto Israel. They talks about black Jesus, but they using the wrong word. They know that this Jesus they talking about, that white boy that right there, that hippie ain't the one. Read, brother.
Nor his manservant.
Nor his manservant. That means nothing that belongs unto him. If somebody's working, if me and my brother here got a company the same, why am I going to be looking upon him to get his workers to come work for me? I'm taking from him because he might have something good that's going on for him. Why am I trying to steal something from him to make things better for me? Read, brother.
Nor his maidservant. nor his ox,
Uh-huh.
nor his ass.
Right. So if this brother got a whole, if he got a whole load of lamb in his yard, why am I going to be at midnight sneaking over his fence trying to grab me a lamb? He shouldn't hear his lambs crying out there and a flashlight, come on, here I am. It shouldn't be that way. Yes, ma'am.
Nowadays, it's the vehicle.
And now it's the car.
You want your car. That's a free car. Gotta have it.
They steal them from you.
Yep.
And when they finish with it, they'll burn it up. It ain't like they're going to get it and return it to you. They going to steal it, wreck it, break it, and tear it up. But they didn't want one of their own, they wanted yours. When those guys was out there doing those robberies, bagging up 7-Eleven, busting the window open, grabbing out the little cash machine, ATM, pulling out, you think that was their vehicle? I beg to differ. Those trucks were stolen trucks. And they used them to go do crime with them. They stealing somebody else's stuff. Read, brother.
Nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
There's anything. Don't cover nothing that belongs to your neighbor. I don't care if it's a shirt or a boot or whatever. Brother Johnson wear a nice shirt and ask, man, where you get that from? I don't want the one you got, but I sure will give me one like it. You know I ain't lying, don't you? He laughed because you know I ain't lying. Go ahead. That's it. So that's the two. That's why that's why, and then continue to read.
This is Matthew 22:40. On these two commandments hang all the Torah and the prophets.
Those 10 and the prophets, everything the prophets hang on those two commandments.
But a lot of times, Christians use that and take that out of context.
And they say the Big 10 is no good.
Exactly.
But what they're not reading the whole thing to tell you that
All
those
the
two
law.
cover
It
everything.
hangs all the law.
That's the answer to
That's
your
it.
question.
And in addition to that, even the 10, that's like a cliff notes or a summary
Yeah.
of the Torah. So, you know, we have to read just like we were reading in Exodus 20. He was saying in Leviticus tells you more about what we're supposed to do on the Sabbath, our Sabbath responsibilities and things of that nature.
Right.
There's more. So even the 10 is just a short summary. We have to read and study more.
You have to go into Leviticus.
We got, what, 613 laws.
613
And they're all
laws.
compressed into 10 laws. You see, if you look at part of the 613, maybe 50 of them we can put under one law out of the 10. So it cancels out the whole big number and we just break it down to the 10. And then you'll master the 613.
Because the Most High knew we were going to remember all 613 laws. Let me break this thing down to 10, something you can just about handle.
One of our brothers says the
They
reason,
wasn't handling that, so they said, let me break it down to 2. Can you handle 2? Go ahead.
one of our brothers out online said the reason being is because if you can keep the 10, you can keep the 613.
You see that? And that's one of the brothers online that's talking to us, right? He said, if you can keep the 10, you can keep the 613. Go ahead, sister.
But even with the 613, it's less than that because a lot of them have to do with sacrifice.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, instant judgment, like if they touch that ark and drop dead. So a lot of that stuff is done away with.
Some of it is, but the majority still stay. Because when Hamashiach came and removed the law of sacrifice and the law of judgment, those two were removed when that veil split. We're going to get to that. But that happened. That took place. You see what I mean? So it's more so a lot of people don't want research before they teach it. And they'll read that and take it face value, but they won't give you the depths of it. So they'll run around and tell you, but this is not right, that's not right, this is not right, that's not right. That's why we had to come from among them. We had to remove ourselves from those people and those teachings, and we had to remove ourselves from those doctrines that are untrue.
And seek the truth, which is the Torah. Torah is truth.
There you go. Okay, Brother Darren, you back in place?
Yep.
And where you at, brother? Bring us back up to speed. In Romans 8,
Yep.
verse what?
Verse 3.
Verse 3, read.
For what the law could not do,
Uh-huh,
in that it was weak through the flesh,
uh-huh,
Yahweh sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh,
uh-huh,
and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh,
condemn sin in the flesh. You see that? Read.
that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us.
Mm-hmm.
So the law is righteous, it sounds like.
That's it. No, don't sound to me. Keep going, brother.
Who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit.
Uh-huh.
For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh.
Where you at?
Verse 5.
Verse 5 says, for they that are what?
For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh.
If it's more important for you to do things that are after the flesh, you're not walking in the spirit. When the things of the flesh become I don't want to say second nature, but when it becomes less important to those things that are righteous, when that happens, and it will happen in your life if you continue to read and live by the Lord Most High, you'll find that a lot of stuff that you thought was of great importance are no longer important to you.
That's right.
Read.
But they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit.
Because you're going to find yourself doing more spiritual things than fleshly things. Read.
For to be carnally minded is death.
Did you see that? So we wonder what happened when he died. We talk about killing off the old man. When you kill off the old man, you kill off the worldly ways, which is what? Death. Because if you're carnal minded, carnal is worldly. When you're worldly minded, it's death. That's why a lot of people are walking around dead. Once this thing ties into your mind the right way and the scriptures hit the right place, if you're driving around, you can look outside your car and you can see dead people walking around and you can recognize them. How many of y'all ever happened to? Huh? How many? You said that? You driving around and saw somebody dead? Okay, so. No. But I'm just saying, right? You can see people. You ain't gotta be driving, you can be walking. You can see dead, you can see people, and you can see their ways are the ways of this world, which you can see death in them, is what I'm saying. Right? It's almost like watching the movie The Living Dead. Where do y'all think they got the concept from? Continue to read, my brother.
Verse 6. But to be spiritually minded is life and peace.
Life and peace. Brother Johnson, can you pull up Romans 7? Continue to read, brother.
Because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh.
You see that? The carnal mind is enmity. It's an enemy. It's just enemy. They don't agree. And it's to a point of death. Read.
For it is not subject to the law of Yahweh, neither indeed can be.
Read, my brother.
So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh.
So if you live in the flesh, you can't please him. So how is it that somebody shows up with carnal array and teach people a prosperity teaching, and everything that they're saying is based on this world of living and that their abundance upon this world? How can they teach that to you and please the Most High? They can't do it. It's not possible. Romans 7, verse 8. Romans 7, verse 8.
And actually, I want to enter one that Brother Abaya just gave me. That's
Abaya,
I'm sorry. It's Isaiah 8:20.
Isaiah 8:20.
Isaiah 8:20. It says, "To the Torah and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them."
You see that? Thank you, brother Abiyah. If it says that if you're not living in according to the law and the testimony, the Torah and the testimony, then what?
Ain't no light. No light. Ain't no light.
There's no light. You can't shine among men.
They speak not according.
So I don't know where the scripture, or I just know how it goes. It says something about lukewarm, how the Most High hates them.
That's Laodicea. That's in Revelations. He said he would spew you out of his mouth. He did a lesson. He did a letter to Laodicea in the book of Revelation, and he was saying they was hot. They was hot sometime and cold sometime. He said, "I'd rather you to be hot or cold. Which one are you going to be?" You disgust me. I just spewed you out my mouth. It's like some people. Now I'm gonna tell you, when I first started drinking cold coffee, I couldn't do it. I said, "This is very abnormal," but my wife and Sister Kelly was like, "You cannot go heat up nothing in here on this app." Kelly used to walk around like a law dog. Well, it's dark. Turn all the stoves off. Anything you do and you like, stop it. Because it's the Sabbath. You honor the Most High. You see that? If you read the scripture, Lord, uncover your head. But Mom, if you got one going on, cover yours. I'm just saying, the law takes place. Once you practice it over and over again, it becomes a norm unto you. Second nature. It's just right there, right? You remember how when we first got into it? She's been here all this time. You remember how when we first got into it, we had to put forth an effort. Had to put forth an effort to do it.
Yeah, we like toddlers.
Yeah. But now it's so common to us, it happened to us, that it's natural. That it's even felt among our children for it to be natural to our children. You see? Because practice makes perfect. And who's reading?
Me, Romans chapter 7, verse 8.
And read.
But sin,
But sin,
taking occasion by the commandment,
uh-huh,
wrought in me all manner of conspicuousy.
uh-huh.
For without the law, sin was dead.
You see that? Without that law of sacrifice, sin was dead, because that law of sacrifice gave a guilt, a free will unto sin to be committed, because they know there was a way to cover it. Continue to read.
For I was alive without the law
Once. Uh-huh.
But when the commandment came, sin revived and I died.
You see that? Now, this is Apostle Paul talking. If you don't watch, the Apostle Paul would throw a stumbling block at you, and you'd be like, my God. Now you see why people are saying what? The law is not good. But you got to understand what he's saying. He's talking about that particular law. He's talking about the law of sacrifice and the law of judgment. He's not talking about the Big Ten. Continue to read.
And the commandment which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death. For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it slew me.
Continue to read.
Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good.
But you see, all that stuff he said about the law, he came back and said in 12, he said, wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment is holy, and just, and good. Continue to read.
Was then that which is good made death unto me.
You see that? Then what was good made death unto me. Meaning that law of sacrifice made death unto him, because what? It kept him in a sinful state of the flesh. Because the flesh is sin. Right? I'm sorry, the flesh is death through sin. But if the law allowed you to sin, in and out of sin, in and out of sin, in and out of sin, because you sinning, and then you sacrifice, sin and sacrifice, sin and sacrifice. You sacrifice one time. You see that? Which was who? Our Hamashiach. Which gave us the grace to get the laws right. If y'all understand what I'm saying. Yep. Everybody with me? Go ahead and read, my brother.
Elohim forbid. But sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good.
So what we got to understand is that we, before the Hamashiach was crucified, even if we believed in him to a point, we still was walking around dead to the law. Because the law, you still walking around dead. You got people walking around right now today that are dead. You got people that claim to be the Israelites that are dead. That are dead. Why? I'm so glad you asked me that. I've been waiting on you to do that. I've been waiting on you to ask me that one. Because they're not keeping the law themselves. And then they made up their own, a lot of them made up their own doctrines. That's why we, and we're not calling no names, that's why we here at the Ark, we live by what? We live by what I say, we live by, we err on the side of caution. We're going to be cautious about this thing. We're going to take our time to make sure we got it right. If we find that we're wrong in something, we don't have a problem saying we're wrong and getting it straight. But don't come tiptoeing. When you bring it to us, you better be ready. You better have it right. Because we ready.
But we understand the right of correction. I mean,
That's it. We understand that. You see what I mean? We don't mind being corrected or edified if you're right.
we want to be.
Yeah, because we want to get it right. I don't want to be thinking I got it right and then I come in and I wake me up and start judging me and say, no, no.
I never knew you.
Who are you?
It's terrifying.
I know it is. Because all I can see is I start feeling the fire as soon as he said it. Where we at, brother?
I'm going to start back at 13.
Yes, sir.
Was then that which is good made death unto me?
Uh-huh.
God forbid.
But
sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good.
Uh-huh.
That sin by the commandment might become exceedingly sinful.
Uh-huh.
For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, solid under sin. Sold under sin. I'm sorry, sold under sin.
You see that? Did y'all see that? It says, read that 14 again, my brother.
For we know that the law is spiritual.
We know that the law is spiritual. What?
But I am carnal.
But I am carnal. I am a worldly man. What?
Sold under sin.
Because how was you sold under sin? Do anybody know how we were sold under sin? Them two people back there in the garden. So that's how we were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. Because of what took place in the Garden of Eden. From that point on, we were born in sin. They was created in righteousness, but we were born into sin. So we are in sin, and sin is what? Death. So we're walking around, as long as we're in sin, we are dead people. What little boy told me? I see dead people. Y'all seen that movie? I see dead people. When they're in sin, you see dead people. Better yet, when you're in sin, you are dead. So we got to understand it. Read, brother.
For that which I do, I allow not for what I would. I'm sorry, let me start it over.
Wait.
For that which I do, I allow not for what I would. That do I not, but what I hate, that do I.
Yeah, 15?
Yeah, 15.
Oh, I wasn't planning for you to go that far.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Thank you, brother, but you was right about that too.
Okay.
Give me Romans 7 and 23.
Romans 7 and 23.
Romans 7 and 23. I need John 3.
But I see another instruction in my members.
He said, but look at here now. He said, but now I see another what?
Instruction in my members.
Meaning he see another law in his memory, in his members. He see another law in his members. What?
Warn against the instruction of my mind.
Warn against the law in his mind, the one that he has gotten from the Most High. There's another law that's there, but it's warned against the law of his mind. You see what I mean? Read.
And bringing me into captivity to the instruction of sin.
And it bringing him into the captivity of the law of sin. What?
Which is in my members.
Which is in my members. Why is it in your members? Because you were born in it. Read.
Oh, wretched man that I am. Who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
Ooh, wow. Read.
I thank Yahuwah that Yahushua HaMashiach, our Adonai. So then I'm sorry, let me read that again. I said that wrong. I thank Yahuwah through Yahushua HaMashiach, our Adonai.
We got you. Go ahead.
So then with the mind I myself serve the Torah of Yahuwah, but with the flesh the instruction of sin.
You see that? Y'all see that? He's saying that through Christ, he served the law of our Elohim. You see that? But with his flesh, he served the law of sin, which is death, which makes him a dead man. So that's how the Apostle Paul throws his little stumbling blocks out there, and people get confused because they won't take the time to break it down. You see what I mean? Can I get John, St. John 3 and 12? St. John 3 and 12. St. John 3 and 12. We're getting to that one that our brother Aviyah sent us a few minutes ago. We're getting close to it. Yes, sir. No, 3 and 12. Brother Chauncey, you give me St. John's 11 and 24, and we're going to start you with Ezekiel. You're going to have Ezekiel 37. I want you to start first. John 3, verse 12. Wait till the brothers get theirs, and then we're going to start, so they're going to hold a point. They're going to hold theirs in place, and then we're gonna move forward. What time look like? Looking good, brothers. We can do this.
I got 11 and what?
You got John 11 and 24. Okay, just mark it and we're gonna move forward. Okay, John 3 verse 12. John 3 verse 12, and it reads, thus why?
If I have told you earthly things,
Now this is Yohanan Mashiach speaking. What?
and ye believe not,
I told you things that is earth and you didn't believe it. What?
and you believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things?
And he tell you about heavenly things, which is so much higher than earthly things. If you can't receive something that's earthly, how can you receive something so much more above that? Read.
And no man hath ascended up to heaven.
You see that? Y'all see what that said, right? No man has ascended up into heaven. People say, well, how about this guy? How about that guy? How about this? But according to our Hamashiach, nobody has did that. Where'd they go? Well, you got a few things, but keep going.
But he that came down from heaven,
The only one that's ascended up is him that came down. What?
even the Son of Man, which is in heaven.
Even the Son of Man. They told the Son of Man is the only one that has ascended into heaven. What? Read.
And Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness.
Do y'all remember that? What happened? Israel was being bit by snakes, and they were dying off. Most High in fact, it was our Hamashiach that told him, take a snake, put a snake on a pole, and when people look at that snake, what it do? It'll save them from the snake bites or something of that nature. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So he said that even Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, and what?
Even so must the Son of Man be lifted up,
So when the Son of Man be lifted up, if you believe and have faith in him, read.
that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life.
Just like that snake saved lives, he'll give you eternal life. We read it for you, Brother Johnson. John 11, verse 24.
John 11, verse 24.
Yes, sir.
Martha said unto him,
What did Martha say?
I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection
Oh,
at the last day.
Who were they talking about?
Lazarus.
That's it. They were talking about Lazarus, because Lazarus was dead for a moment. Not long, but for a moment. And she said, I know, because Yahshua said he's going to raise him from the dead. He said, but I know he's going to raise him in the resurrection. Right, in the last day, but what? How Mashiach said?
Oh, Yeshua said unto her, I am the
He
resurrection.
said, I am the resurrection. You see that? Read.
And the life.
And the life.
He that believeth in me,
Uh-huh.
through he were dead,
Though he was
though he
dead.
was dead, yet shall he live.
And read.
And whomsoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this?
Do you believe that? That's what he asked her. Do you believe that? You see that? Ezekiel 37, brother Kevin.
Ezekiel 37, 37 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
The hand of Yahuwah was upon me and carried me out in the Ruach Yahuwah, the spirit of Yahuwah.
This is Ezekiel talking. He just brought in another prophet, that's all. Try to just prove the point. He said that what? He said the hand of Yahuwah was with him, and say he carried him out into in the spirit of who?
Yahuwah.
And read.
And set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones.
It was full of bones. This valley, when you see bones, you know something dead around there. These bones symbolize death. Read.
And caused me to pass by them round about.
Caused him to look around them, all around them, pass and observe them. What?
And behold, there were very many in the open valley.
Very many in this open valley.
And lo, they were very dry.
So now this open valley is like symbolic into this world. And the dryness is what? Is the dryness is the lack of hearing of the word. You see that? Give me the third verse, brother.
And he said unto me, Son of man,
Son of man.
can these bones live?
And what did he say?
And I answered, O Adonai Yahuwah, you know.
You know better than I do. Go ahead and read.
Again he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them,
What?
O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahuwah.
You see what I mean? If you hear the word of Yahuwah, that means that there's a lack of words by these dead bones running around here. They not running around, they're laying around, ain't they?
But they dry because it's been so long.
So the ones that when I say you can see the inside the death of sin, you can see death walking around, dead man walking, because there's no word in that man. And he said, you read that 5th verse, brother?
I'm there now.
Give it to us.
Thus says Adonai Yahuwah, unto these bones,
Prophesy, say this into them bones. What?
behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live.
And ye shall live. Now there's another account of this. There's an account in the Bible that this actually happened. Can you give me Genesis 2? Genesis 2 and 7. You stay with Ezekiel. I need Matthew 27 from you, Brother Johnson. Yes, sir. Genesis 2 and 7. I want you to hang strong with Ezekiel for me. We ready? Genesis 2 and 7. Genesis 2 and 7.
Genesis 2, verse 7.
Yes, sir.
And the Most High Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground.
When he formed man from the dust of the ground, y'all remember that, right? Everybody read that. That's like Bible reading 101. Right? Read.
And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
When he breathed into his nostrils, he breathed life into that man. But remember, that man was created in his likeness. Right? That means that man was created as a righteous man. And then guess what else? Read, brother.
And man became a living soul.
Because at that time, that man was made to live forever. You see that? That's why when he breathed the breath of life in him, he breathed righteousness into this man. And this man was supposed to live forever. That's why he said back in Ezekiel 37 verse 5, he said, thus says the Elohim unto these bones. He said, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. Meaning he's going to be able to breathe the breath of righteousness right back into Israel. Once again, even though they're walking around here as dead people today. Right? Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37 verse 7. Ezekiel 37 verse 7 and read. I'm sorry, verse 6, that's one I wanted. You're right, you're on point.
And I will lay sinews upon you.
He said, I will lay sinews upon you, which is what? What is sinews? Yes, sir. Read.
And will bring up flesh upon you.
Well, the sinews is the veins and stuff like that. Muscle and stuff like that, right? Right, okay. And then he's going to put flesh upon that muscle, or what?
And cover you with
And
skin.
then he's going to cover you with skin.
And put breath in you.
And put breath in you.
And ye shall
You
live.
see that? Read.
And ye shall know that I am Yahuwah.
So what?
So I prophesied as I was commanded.
Mm-hmm.
And as I prophesied, there was a noise.
What?
And behold, a shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And the bones came together, bone to his bone.
Bone to his bone. Remember when he connected man and man? Man and woman, he's the bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, I'll call you woman. Because they two became one.
Yes.
So when he breathed his breath of righteousness into this man, into dead Israel, Israel and our HaMashiach is going to become one. Let's go to Matthew. Who got that? Matthew 27. Now this is the one. This is the scripture that we've been talking about. This is what it was all about right here from the beginning. This is where our issue at hand came forth. And you're going to read this right here. We're going to solve some problems. Let's read Matthew 27. I want you to read just 50 and 51.
All right. Give a few steps to get there. Matthew 27. Matthew 27. Verse 50.
Yes, sir.
Yahshua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost.
You see that? During the time that he had been crucified, he yelled with a loud voice and he gave up the ghost. What?
And behold,
the
veil of the temple was rent, entwined from the top to the bottom.
And what?
And the earth did quake.
Remember back in Ezekiel 37 and 7, he said, behold, there's going to be a shaking. The earth did quake. And what?
And the rocks rent.
And the rocks rent. Now give me 30. Hold tight, brother. Drop the whole tight. When you stay right there, you can hit 52. I need Ezekiel. You still with Ezekiel, right? Give me 37 verse 8.
Ezekiel 37 verse 8.
And you hold tight where you are, Brother Johnson. Read.
And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them,
Uh-huh.
and the skin covered them above,
And what?
but there was no breath in them.
But there was no breath. There was a body, but there was no breath in it. The body is just what? The body is just sin, it's just death. Because there was no breath in it. There was not a living soul at that time. Read.
Then said he unto me,
Uh-huh.
prophesy unto the wind.
Oh, you mean tell me he got control of the wind?
Prophesy unto the wind.
Yes, sir.
Prophesy, son of man,
Uh-huh.
and say to the wind, thus says Adonai Yahuwah,
Uh-huh.
come from the four winds, O breath,
Ah.
and breathe upon these slain that they may live.
Remember, he gonna gather you from the four corners of the earth. Even when the time comes and destruction come upon this earth, he gonna tell the angel, he gonna say, hold off until I gather my people from the four corners of the earth. At that time, the breath of righteousness is gonna come upon the people that has been looking, that has been living according to what? The Ruach. And some things gonna change. They're gonna become one with the Most High. Read.
I'm at 10.
Yes, sir.
So I prophesied as he commanded me,
Uh-huh.
and the breath came into them,
And the breath came into them.
and they lived
Ah, and what?
and stood up
Uh-huh.
upon their feet,
And they stood upon their feet.
an exceeding great army.
Right now, we just sitting down. Right now, we not standing on our feet. When you on your feet, you stable. You know what I mean? You on your feet, you at your best when you on your feet. You can't sit down and be on your feet, especially when you're being attacked by spirits in high places. Spirits and principalities of high places. You can't fight with that. But in Matthew 27 and 50, Brother Chauncey, 27 and 52, it says what?
And the graves were open.
So now you just think about it. In 51, it said, behold, the temple was rent in twine. So we already know what happened when it broke in half, right? And the rocks and stuff happened. We know the veil inside the tabernacle or inside the sanctuary was split. We do know that, right? And then he comes down here in 50, and it says, in 52, it says, and the grave was open.
And many bodies of saints which slept arose.
And many bodies of the saints which slept arose. Slept don't always mean dead. And in this point, a lot of times slept mean dead is not laying in the ground, is what I'm saying. Dead is walking around dead. Dead is walking around in sin. So many saints are in their graves walking around, dead, walking around in their grave without even taking a dirt nap. He said, but many of them that slept what? Arose and what?
Arose and came out of the graves. Excuse me. After his resurrection.
After his resurrection. It doesn't say during his resurrection. It said after his resurrection what?
And went into the holy city.
Uh-huh.
And appeared unto many.
There's only one occasion in this whole book that took place. One occasion. And we're going to get to it. But first of all, we're going to go ahead and let Brother Kevin finish up with Ezekiel 37 and 11.
Ezekiel 37 and 11.
Uh-huh.
Then he said unto me,
Uh-huh.
Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel.
The whole house of Israel. Read.
Behold, they say, our bones are dry.
Our bones are dry. We don't have nothing to live for. We in bondage. We have oppressors. Read.
And our hope is lost.
There's no will in us. There's no way out of this. Read.
We are cut off for our parts.
We are cut off because of the sin that we have sinned against the Father and our brother. Those two laws that our Hamashiach talked about. Here comes that scripture that Brother Abiyah sent us. John 16 and 5. John 16 verse 5. Brother Johnson, can you roll over to Acts 1 and prepare to give me that second verse? We're about to close out. Yes, sir.
John 16, verse 5.
John 16, verse 5.
But now I go my way to him that sent me.
Uh-huh.
And none of you asketh me, whither goest thou?
And he talking to his apostles. He said, I'm going away to him that sent me. And none of y'all ask me, where am I going? Read.
But because I have said these things unto you, sorrow hath filled your heart.
Because he was with them then. Those things that they did not need a comforter while he was with them. All right, brother. Give me that 7th verse.
Verse 7. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is expedient for you that I go away.
He said, even though you are sorrowful, and you are sad at heart, he said that I'm telling you now that it is expedient. I need to do this right away. I need to leave you. It's expedient. It's important that I leave you. And I'm telling you the truth. What?
For if I go not away,
but if I don't leave,
the Comforter will not come unto you.
The Holy Spirit cannot be placed upon you until I go. Read.
But if I depart,
I
will send him unto you.
I send you that Comforter. I send you that Holy Spirit. Here comes that time I was talking about. Acts 1, verse 2.
Acts 1, verse 2.
Yes, sir.
Until the day in which he was taken up.
Until the day in which he was taken up.
After that he threw
the Holy Ghost.
Through the Holy
the Ruach.
The Ruach HaKodesh had given commandments unto the apostles whom he had chosen.
He had told them where to go, what to do, and everything else. Read. A commandment is just an order that came down from the Father. Read.
To whom also he showed himself alive after his passion by many infallible proofs.
Infallible truth,
Being seen of them 40 days, and speaking of the things pertaining to the kingdom of Yahweh. And being assembled together with them, commanding them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which saith he, Yea, have heard of me.
Read.
For John truly baptized with water.
John baptized with water.
But ye shall be baptized with the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Ghost, not many days hence.
So after he said, John baptized you with water. He said, but I'm going to baptize you with what? With the Ruach. You see? So the Ruach was not here until he left. Right? But how can somebody always say, well, I'm saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost, but you don't know no word? Whose Holy Ghost you got?
Pastors.
The pastor.
Oh, I forgot this verse when we was going through that. It's Isaiah 26, verse 19. Thy dead men shall live together with my dead body, shall they arise. Awaken and sing, ye that dwell in dust, for thy dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead.
So his dead body the dead man is going what? Read it again. Read it again, brother.
And the earth shall cast out.
Start over.
The dead men shall live.
The dead men shall live. What? The dead men shall live. The dead men are walking around, they dead. But read.
Together with my dead body.
But when his dead body die, the dead men, right, is living with the dead is going to live with his dead body. But read.
Shall they rise?
But they shall rise when he dies. He going to give them life when he dies. Meaning that when he dies is when the Ruach going to come through. You see what I mean? And that's when they're going to begin to live.
After his resurrection.
After his resurrection. Read, brother.
Awake and sing.
Awake and what?
Awake and sing. Ye that dwell in dust.
You dwelling in dust. You're not taking a dirt nap, but you got dust around you. You walk around dead. Keep going.
For thy dew is as of the dew of herbs.
And read.
And the earth shall cast out the dead.
Y'all got it? Well, yeah, bro. Who was just reading? Who was reading before he did that?
I think I was.
I did Acts. Yeah.
Right. You somewhere around where? You at 6, right? You at 5? No, you at 6.
6.
Read. We got 5 minutes. No,
Acts 5.
We got 7 minutes.
I did
Read 6.
When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Adonai, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel?
You see the question they asked, read.
And he said unto them,
What did he say?
It is not for you to know the times or the season which the Father hath put in his own power.
Read.
But ye shall receive power. But ye shall receive power.
Read.
After the Ruach is come upon you, and ye shall be witness unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth.
So if we look at this thing, the power that's going to come from the Ruach, right, is the strength to keep those things which are commanded unto them. They're not going to have the power to do it until he leaves, which is the Ruach is going to get at you. Read that name first real quick there, brother.
And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight.
And the cloud took him out of their sight, read.
And while they looked steadfastly towards heaven, as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel,
read.
Which also said, Ye men of Galilee,
Ye men of Galilee,
why stand and gaze up into the heaven?
Why you look up in heaven? He gone. Read.
This same Yeshua,
the same one,
which is taken up,
that went up,
taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven.
But do you know where he gonna come back to? When he come back, he's supposed to come back to where? Mount Olive. He's gonna show right back up to the same place he left from. Give me that 12th verse.
Then returned into Jerusalem from the mount called Olive, which is from Jerusalem, a Sabbath day journey. And when they were come in, they went up into an upper room.
They went where?
Into the upper room.
What took place in the upper room? What took place in the upper room? Was it not the Pentecost? Was it not that the Holy the Ruach showed up there? Right? But just think about this.
You said it was not many days hence.
Not many days hence. Not many days later. You see that? That's the key. Now hold tight. You stay where you are, Brother Johnson. Don't you go nowhere.
Got you.
Read me Matthew 27:50 again.
27 verse 50.
Read.
Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice,
Yield the ghost?
yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top.
Okay, that's when that law thing went away. Just keep going.
From the top to the bottom. And the earth did quake.
And the earth did quake.
And the rocks rent.
And what happened?
And the graves were opened.
And those people that were walking around dead in sin, minds was open. What?
And many bodies of the saints which slept arose.
And they rose. Why? Because they slept. They were dead in the shell of what? Of the skin, of the body, of the flesh. They were dead in their flesh. And what?
And came out of the graves after his resurrection.
And they came out of it after his resurrection. They were able to come out the death of flesh. Read.
And went into the holy city and appeared unto many.
Go back, Brother Johnson, and read that. Start at that 13th, at that 12th verse.
All right. Then returned they unto Jerusalem.
Then they, after he died and his resurrection, they returned into Jerusalem. What?
From the mount called Olive.
And what?
Which was from Jerusalem a Sabbath day journey.
So they had to go. They were going into Jerusalem. But did he just not say in Matthew 27:53 that what? That they went into the holy city? What is the holy city? The holy city is Jerusalem. Read, brother.
And when they were come in, they went up into an upper room, where abode both Peter and James and John and Andrew,
yes, sir,
and Philip and Thomas, Bartholomew and Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon and Zotes and Judas the brother of James.
These what?
These all continue with one accord in prayer and supplication with the women and Mary, the mother of Yeshua, and with his brethren.
Why is everybody trying to separate them? Why is all these Hebrews trying to separate themselves from women? Why is it? Why I don't understand that. Cussing them out, telling them to do this, do that. Where's the love? Read, brother.
We're going down, we had.
No. Hold tight. We good. Everybody got to understand I was trying to give across? Everybody get that? So far, y'all got it, right? Give me Acts 2:1.
Acts 2:1.
Uh-huh.
And when the day of Shavuot was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place.
Shavuot is what the day of Pentecost. When the day of Pentecost was fully come, what? They were all, what?
With one accord in one place.
In one place. What?
And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind.
Ooh, that Ruach was coming up in there. Read.
And it filled all the house where they were sitting.
And go.
And there appeared unto them cloven tongues, like as of fire.
Read.
And it sat upon each of them.
Uh-huh.
And they were all filled with the Ruach
It was
HaKodesh.
all filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. He gave it to them right there in Jerusalem when they went where he told them to be at. Read.
And began to speak with other tongues, as the Ruach gave them utterance.
And read.
And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation.
Out of, what you say?
Out of every nation.
But it said Jews, right? Come, devout men, out of what?
Every nation
Out
under
of
heaven.
just Israel.
Out of every nation under heaven.
Drop down that 24th verse and go.
Came from Passover.
Yes, sir. That's right.
24:7.
Yes, sir. They showed up for Passover then. Y'all see that, right? Go, brother. We setting y'all up for Passover. It's coming soon. Go ahead, brother. Give me that 24th verse.
Whom Yahuwah has raised up, having loosed the pains of death.
What did he do?
Loosed the pains of
He
death.
loosed the pain of death because he removed the law of sacrifice. Read.
Because it was not possible that he should be holden of it.
Read.
For David speaks concerning him. I foresaw Yahuwah always before my face.
I'm sorry. Drop down that 30th verse.
Verse 30. Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that Yah had sworn with an oath to him that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Hamashiach to sit on his throne.
And give me that 31st verse.
He, seeing this before, spoke of the resurrection of Hamashiach, that his soul was not left in Sheol,
Uh-huh.
neither his flesh did see corruption.
See that? Drop down that 38th verse.
Then Kepha, Peter, said unto them, Repent and be immersed, every one of you, in the name of Yahushua, for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Ruach HaKodesh.
You see that? A lot of people don't want to repent. A lot of people don't want to repent. They don't want to do that. Give me that 39th verse.
For the promises unto you, and unto your children, and to all that are afar off, even as many as Yahuwah shall call.
So now listen. When the Ruach came, they went about and they spoke of everything. They passed it out. The proof was the Ruach getting into those people in the upper room, right? Those devout men, the Jews, and the people of all the nations began to get out and talk about him. That was the proof that came down through Matthew 27, 50 through 53. That was the proof, or the what, or the outcome of that particular script. Give me that and drop. You hit the 38th verse? Give me that 39th verse.
I did for 39.
Give me that 40th verse.
And with many other words did he testify and exhort, saying, Save yourselves from this perverse generation.
You can only deal with the perverse generation if you make yourself a part of the perverse generation, okay? Living in a carnal and worldly manner. You have to live righteously in order to receive the Ruach. And with that Ruach, that is what keeps you in tune. It's not about how much money you got. It's not about how much money that you can sow a seed and you're supposed to get this and that. Those are all lies that keep you condemned to hell. What you have to do is you have to live right. Receive it. That you can be delivered from this sinful, dead body and remove yourself and be placed under righteousness and life in the kingdom forevermore. I want to say thank you for your time. So that concludes us with Matthew 27, 50 through 50.